I have another unit to unbox for you guys today. This is from Dreo. This is a tower fan and heater. So let's get this open and power it up and see how it works. After cutting away all the tape that holds the box shut, here's what's inside. The destruction manual, of course, the unit itself, and accessories. I'm going to get this onto the ground here and get it unboxed. Okay, there's the base pieces. Just like that. The power cord's going to come through the bottom. Now this one uses a 120 volt power cord, unlike the other fans which operate on low voltage with an adapter. This one being a heater, it's going to obviously require a much heavier cord and operate on mains power. So we're going to put the plug through here, pull the cord through, and put the base on. The base should only go on one way, to probably just clip in and turn. Usually that's how they work. Turn it around until it locks in and then give it a turn. The base is now attached. We'll remove some packing tape, and that remove that one as well, the other lock from the front. Heating elements in the front here, and the fan, of course. Let's take a look at the specs before I plug it in. So this is a 1500 watt heater, so it needs to be plugged into a dedicated circuit, and you're not going to plug this into a power strip. I'm going to plug it into a dedicated circuit. That's what it requires. It can't share with other heaters or anything else. This is going to draw, when it's on full power, it's going to draw a full load on the circuit. If you have other stuff running on the circuit, there's a good chance you're going to trip it, because this is going to draw 1500 watts. It comes with a infrared remote control. You can switch between fan and heat and adjust the temperature and turn on the air swing, a timer, etc. You're going to pop this little tab out. That turns on the battery, because they have the battery wrapped in plastic to keep the battery from discharging when it's in shipping. So I've just activated the battery, and the battery can be changed. It's just a standard lithium cell, and you have to press, I guess you have to press a tab to release it, or pop it down. Anyway, oh, there's a little tab here. You just pop that little tab over, and then this pops down. Anyway, squeeze that over and then pull. They're easy to change. The heating element looks to be about 16 inches. Yeah, 16 inches. There's the bottom of the heating element there, and the top. So just under 16 inches. I brought the unit inside so that I can go over some of the features inside the office here. I'm using the remote control to power it up, and the buttons on the remote are as follows. You got power, up and down for speed and temperature, mode, timer, and fan and heater mode, and this is for the air swing to turn on the rotation, which you can switch to between, I think it's 30, 60, 90, and 120 degrees or off. To start it up, we're going to push the power button, and it starts out in heat mode, H5. That's full heat mode. If I use the up and down buttons on here, I can switch it down to 4, 3, 2, or 1. So there's 5 different heat settings, ranging from 700 through 1500 watts, and this will stay on. This is not temperature controlled in this mode. This is in maximum heat. So if I switch it to H5, this will be maximum heat. If I use the rotation button, it will now rotate 90 degrees. The unit itself is pretty quiet. So there it's doing the 90-degree rotation. And if I press the button again once, and there's also buttons on top, which I'll go over those in a minute when we get back out to the shop. I'm actually having to shoot this out of sequence. This is a makeup shot because the file decided to get corrupted on my SD card. Okay, if I press the air swing button, I can now use the plus and minus buttons. Whoops. I can switch it between 90, 60, 30, and 0. 120 degrees, 90, 60, and 30. And now it'll only swing 30 degrees instead of 90. And then come back. Geez, it's already getting hot in here. This thing is throwing off so much heat. There you go. There's the 30 degree sweep. I just kind of turned it around a bit just to give you guys an idea of the amount of air swing. This is on 30 degrees. And if I hit the button and switch it to 90 or to 60, it actually does a full calibration every time you switch it. It'll go all the way back to one end and then it starts. So I think they're probably using optical sensors to determine where it is, because every time you change all these fans, they'll always go back to their home position and then start. If I hit the button again here and switch it up to, whoops, 60, 90. Now I'll do a 90 degree swing, but you get the idea. To switch it over to fan, I'm just going to stop it from swinging here. When it gets back dead on here, we'll stop it. So we're in heat mode now. I'm just going to stop it from turning. And if I go to switch it to fan, I'm just going to push the fan button. You'll see a countdown timer start, and that's because it has to cool the heating element down before it switches over to fan. And now this unit here, I'll show this back in the shop. It actually moves the heater completely away. You can't see it here, but the heating element's actually being moved out of position so that the fan can actually provide full airflow. This thing moves a tremendous amount of air. I don't think I've got any fans. You can probably hear it on the microphone, but I've got two other tower fans, and the amount of air that these move on the high speed is just incredible. Probably one of the best fans that I own are the two Dreo that I've got. I've got one up in my bedroom, which comes in really handy on those hot nights. Even though I have air conditioning, I don't cool the house that much. So it comes in real handy, and I've got one in my media room, which is great for blowing the air around. It's running pretty much every day full time just to help circulate the air. There's 12 speeds. I can switch it with the remote or with the buttons on top. Speeds. There's also a timer. We hit the timer button. We can select anywhere from 1 to 12 hours and the unit will shut off. There's a mode button. The mode button will switch. There's different modes that it can operate in. Automatic will ramp the fan speed up, I think, depending on the temperature. There's a natural mode too. That one is natural, if I'm not mistaken. I should look at the manual. Or is it that one? Maybe that's natural. One of the modes, the fan speed will ramp up and slow down. There, it'll slow down, and then it'll go back up again. So I don't know if you can hear it, but the fan is slowing down, and then it goes up again. This is to simulate a breeze blowing through a window, and if you've got it oscillating, it will bring the fan up, and it works at all the different speeds. If I slow it down, for example, it'll go between about, I think, 3 and 6, and then back down to 3, and then back up to 6. But it's now slowing down. So it's just barely a breeze, and then it will pick up again. And here it goes. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's starting to increase in speed again, and it just varies up and down in that mode. That's done with the mode button. Press it again, This is sleep mode. So when you set it for sleep mode, how it will work is it'll start out fast, and then as it gets counting down for the timer, it will slow down as it's getting closer to the end of its timed cycle. Automatic will set the temperature or set the speed based on the temperature in the room. So if the room is hot, it will ramp the speed up automatically, and if it cools down, it will slow it down. That's the auto mode, or the mode for the fan for automatic. If I go back to heat mode by pressing the heat button, this is fixed heating, so the heat will stay on. This is H5, that's high. If I press the mode button, I now switch it to eco mode, and it's going to now heat to a specific temperature. So right now it's not heating much because it's 70 in here. But if I turn up the temperature to say 75, it should start heating more. It might even be 75 in here now. It's pretty warm. I had the heater running. We'll crank it up to 80. And there it goes. Now it's coming on, because I think it's probably 75 in here. My office is not that big, and having this thing running just for a few minutes while I was doing this demo, it's actually got the room relatively warm. I'm going to have to turn on the AC. No, I won't turn the AC on. I'll just open the door and blow the air out, blow the heat out. But yes, it does heat quite efficiently. If I turn it down to 70, it will shut off. There's also a tip over function, so if the fan or the heater gets tipped over, it will lock it out and shut it off to prevent fires. So now it's set for 70, it's shut right off. There's no heating at all now because we're at 70 degrees. If I go out of auto mode and I switch it back to manual mode, of course the heat will come on, and it will stay on until I turn it off. So that's full heat. And of course, to shut it off, when you press the power button, it'll start counting down from 15. It'll just run the air for 15 seconds to cool down the heater core before it shuts off. Okay, back out to the shop. I'll show you some other features on here, and we're going to take this unit apart and show you how to clean the actual fan itself and lubricate it and so forth. So check this out. When I'm going to switch it from heating to cooling, watch what happens. It's going to go through the countdown, and now watch what happens to the heating element. It's actually going to move the heating element away, so you're not wasting any air pressure blowing it through the heating element when you want to use it as a fan. It actually moves the heating element out of the way so that you get the full force from the fan when you're using it in cooling mode. So you get a lot of air moving through here on high. If I switch it back to heat, you'll see now the heating element is going to swing back into place, turn on the heating element, and it's going to start heating. That's pretty cool. I don't know of any other heaters on the market that do that actually physically move the heating element. All the ones I've seen, yes, you can put them in fan mode, but you're still forcing the air through the heating element, which is going to restrict your airflow. That is a very cool feature. On the top, there's more buttons that we can't see because my lights are glaring. It's silver, but you've got controls for power, mute, to shut off the beeper, mode, up and down for the temperature or the speed, the air swing where it tilts, it rotates, and heat and cool switch, and main power. And there's a child lock on here if you hold these 2 to 3 for 3 seconds. Has to count down 3, 2, 1, and now it's locked. It's got a flashing lock on there. These are not buttons, they're actually capacitive coupled, I guess. You just put your fingers there, hold it. I didn't do it at the same time. So let's try unlocking it. I just got to tap both of them for 3 seconds. And it's now unlocked. And you have to tap them both at the same time. If you get your finger on one first and then the other, it won't unlock. You see? You have to do them exactly the same time, and it will count down. Now the child lock is off. It also has a tip over switch, so if it were to be knocked over, it will shut off. So let's turn it over and watch it shut off. It'll come up with an error code. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. Let's turn it over here. Let's see if I can tip this thing over. Can we see it tip over? There we go. I just tipped it over, and I've now locked it out, and it's shut off. And it's going to beep to tell me it's been tipped over, and it's shut off, so it won't go on fire. And it probably will stay locked out, and then it shuts right off completely. And you have to tip it back up, and then you can turn it back on. If it overheats, it will also shut down. To open the unit, to clean this grill and to clean the fan off itself, there's a screw in the back. You just undo this one screw. There, down. Pull it down, and then it'll lift out. There we go. That way you can access the actual fan itself for cleaning and for lubricating, which should be done from time to time. To lubricate the fan, there's a set screw down here. You just loosen that set screw. And then lift, and the fan will lift right out. So that way you can clean this, and you can add some oil or grease to the top of the bearing and put it back in. And then it drops down over the motor shaft. It only goes in one way. As you'll note, the motor shaft itself is keyed, so it's only going to drop in one way, just like that, and then you just tighten down the screw. Put the grill back in, just drop it in place, and then you lift it up, and that locks it in place, and then the screw can be replaced. One last thing to mention before I end the video is it comes with a special plug. You can't just cut this off and replace it. This is a temperature sensing plug. So if it's plugged into a circuit that, say, the outlet is worn, or you try to plug it into a power strip or something that doesn't have the current capabilities that's required, and the plug starts to overheat, this has a thermal sensor for the actual plug itself and the wiring, and it will shut the system down in the event that the cord overheats. And then what you need to do is you need to unplug it and wait 5 minutes before attempting to operate it again. So because of that, you cannot cut the plug off. If the cord gets damaged, the entire cord would have to be replaced. Just getting you that information. Okay, that's about it for this one. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'm going to have it sitting here next to me, and you'll probably hear it running in future videos because this is going to become my shop heater for working here in the winter. So there it is. That's where it's going to stay, right next to my tripod. It actually fits pretty much perfect. It can sit right in there by my tripod, out of the way, and this is going to keep me toasty warm when I'm working in here on those cold winter days. We're just getting into winter now. I'm looking forward to how much better this is going to work than the old one. I got it on now, and yeah, the heat coming off this thing is just perfect. It's going to keep me nice and warm here in the shop. Anyway, I'm going to put the link in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.